There have been many arguments concerning whether or not America should switch to electric vehicles or stay with gas. Gas vehicles emit harmful greenhouse gases and air pollutants which have affected the earth. Gas and diesel are both non-renewable resources because of their consumption rate. Because electric vehicles run off a battery, they do not emit exhaust from a tailpipe and do not use any liquid fuel. This is supposed to be healthier for the environment. Being more sustainable is a good thing, but using electric vehicles is not the best way. My name is Isaiah Johnston, and I'm going to tell you why America should not switch to electric vehicles. What is an electric vehicle? This is any vehicle that uses a battery instead of gasoline or diesel. It has an electric motor instead of an internal combustion engine. There are also electric lawnmowers, weed eaters, chainsaws, and more. All of these use a battery instead of liquid fuel. Since electric vehicles do not use fuel, they are also built differently than a fuel vehicle. They do not have fuel lines, a fuel pump, or a fuel tank, but instead they have a battery charge port, an electric motor, and other various parts. Even though electric vehicles do not emit air pollutants or use all the fuel, they still affect the planet. To make the batteries, it requires lithium, cobalt, and nickel. These elements have to be mined in order to be used. All these elements have a limited supply and can be hard to find. There are massive excavation sites and mining areas for these elements. These sites ruin thousands of acres of land, causing plants and animals to no longer be able to live in these areas. Once all of the elements have been extracted from one site, the company will open another site. When the area has been emptied of the elements, it is supposed to be restored. Once we move on from the production of the battery, now we get on to the destruction of it. What happens to all the dead batteries? If they do not end up in the landfill, they can be recycled. Tesla likes to recycle their batteries, but that depends on if they even make it there. People tend to ignore taking a few minutes out of their time to recycle something and would instead rather just throw it away, including myself. Besides the manufacturing and recycling process, there are other cons of electric vehicles. No matter what type of vehicle you have, it will not run forever. Fueling a vehicle is simple because there are gas stations everywhere you look. But charging a vehicle might not be so easy. In big cities or large towns, there will most likely be a charging area, so this won't be a problem. But in smaller towns, where I live, there will not be any charging areas. Electric vehicles also cost a lot more money because they are much newer than some fuel vehicles. Not only buying one, but keeping up with the maintenance. There are many mechanics that work on fuel vehicles, but do not work on electric vehicles. Since electric vehicles are not as popular, every town does not have the resources for them. Someone would have to travel to get to work to their car would have to travel to get their work done to their car instead of going to the town to the closest mechanic. There are a few pros for electric vehicles. They do not contribute to air pollution like fuel vehicles and are not using fuel. There will be a fuel crisis one day because it is not renewable, but electric vehicles will not contribute. Electric vehicles also require less maintenance, which would also save money. Although electric vehicles look nicer and seem nicer, they are not completely environment friendly. Because the process of making the batteries so damaging, the dead batteries can be recycled, but that probably will not happen. There are many products that are recyclable now, but people are just too lazy to do it. Instead of making new vehicles that harm the environment, people should walk, ride a bike, or turn their vehicle off when they are not running it. Thank you.